And with me now here in the studio is Ralf Stegner, Deputy Chairman of the German Social Democrats. Welcome to DW.
Hello, good to see you.
As we heard leaders of your party yesterday and today, you have been meeting discussing the crisis within your party and the future of the Grand Coalition. Are you looking for a way out of the coalition?
Well, no. First of all, we all know that this is a very serious situation. I mean, our standing in the polls, the recent elections in Bavaria and Hesse, they have been pretty bad. And the population there made a judgment on the Grand Coalition in Berlin and said, your performance is very bad, you have to improve things. And so today we said that our party leader, Andrea Nahles, will talk with the union parties whether they are still reliable as partners in the Grand Coalition. We will see a change there in the leadership because Angela Merkel doesn't compete again for the chairwoman of the party, and the CSU might as well choose their leader new, and we'll see what happens there. But what's definitely needed is that there is an improvement in the performance of the Grand Coalition.
I want to talk a little bit more about the prospects for improvement. In fact, German Chancellor Angela Merkel had this to say a little bit earlier today. I'd like to play it and then get your reaction thereafter.
There is a common belief that we want to continue this government on the basis of the coalition agreement. I believe that this is an important message, one that can, in any case, reduce worries.
The Chancellor committed to the current coalition. What would have to change for it to continue for another 3 years?
Well, first of all, we don't want this theater we have seen with Horst Seehofer and the refugee policy and a lot of things that were not negotiated about in our coalition treaty, but done anyway. And secondly, we really have to see that there is a serious situation in the world. I mean, we see President Trump with this trade war against Europe. We see disarmament treaties that get cancelled, and there's a lot of challenges in Europe. So we need a government that's able to act. And also the people in Germany want a government where their most urgent questions are answered. How can I pay for my apartment? How is the pension after a long life of working? What's with education of the children or the elderly care? A lot of problems that have to be solved.
And your party, you've released this 5-point plan to try and get voters back, to try and draw them back in, put your party's stamp on the coalition. I'd just like to go through some of the points. It includes basic pension, childcare reforms, climate change action, greater protection for tenants, and labor market reforms. As we mentioned, though, your party really polling at 15% now. That's below the Greens and the AfD in the country. Is this really enough to get those voters back?
Well, you never know, but you have to try. I mean, we are the experts of uniting the country. The old and the young, the Germans and the foreigners, labor and environment, that has to be put together. We cannot be a party that only helps a certain constituency, but we have to design our policies for the whole population. That's difficult in times like this, where you see a lot of populists, right-wing populists, arguing with the fears of the people. People are afraid of the changes you see by digitalization, globalization, terrorism, refugee movements, and all these kind of things. And the answer we have to give are practical solutions for people. They don't worry whether the Islam might take over their village where they live, but they worry whether they can pay their apartment, or whether they have enough money when they're old, or whether their children get a good job. Still, after the digitalized economy, we will see, or whether we keep together labor and environment, because climate change is a real big challenge. But other than the Greens, we cannot just say we protect our climate and don't care about jobs. We have to do both. We're protecting our climate and also care for new jobs for people in certain regions.
That message, as you're currently disseminating it to the voters, is clearly not being heard. They're not picking up on it. And in fact, it's part of this larger trend. Social Democrats all over Europe, they seem to have a problem bringing their message to the people. Fringe parties gaining a lot of popularity, also populist parties. What lessons do the German Social Democrats need to learn? And does your party perhaps need to be a little bit more proactive, a bit more radical?
Yes, we could be more radical.
How so?
We could choose a different language, clearer, that people understand what we want to say, and not so technological as you sometimes see politicians argue. On the other hand, the simple answers are wrong. Populists give simple answers. We cannot give simple answers because they are wrong. And we have to withstand the right-wing populism much more than we do. See, the conservatives in Bavaria, for instance, they fought against the right-wing populists by taking up their propaganda. That doesn't help. That strengthens, rather, the right-wing populists. And we should withstand them, tell the people that we have to keep our country together, that we keep Europe together against nationalism, because no problem at all could be solved by nationalist solutions. We need international solutions, especially in times like this with President Trump and all those other guys. And if we don't keep Europe together, we will lose our peace and we will lose our well-being. So that's really the task we have to take on. That's a difficult task, and there are no easy answers either. But there's no other way than fighting for it.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon to share those insights. Ralf Stegner, as we mentioned, you are Deputy Chairman of the German Social Democrats, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.